Welcome, all of my fantastic SEAL soldiers and newcomers. Today, I want to take you through a step-by-step on how to make a Martian base. Picture this. You are stuck on Mars. You have no idea what you shall build. What will bring you closer and closer to a sustainable environment on this harsh planet? Well, today, I'm going to take you through a very special build. Of course, you can use this on other planets, but I'm going to take you through a kind of a new style of video. So here we are on this beautiful, desolate planet. So the first thing I'd like to do on a planet such as this, when building any sort of structure, is find kind of a flat area, something that, will suit you for building. Now, this base should be able to have a refinery, an assembler, basic necessities like a med center, maybe a cafeteria just for like a lounge room, some sort of a garage, a spaceport, and some way to get power almost infinitely, or a very sustainable power grid for this station. Now, what I like to do is kind of make a basic layout of the design. So we're going to kind of make it like a modular structure, almost have like a module for each kind of section. For the garage, maybe there's the big refinery and garage room, kind of like production room. And then there is the next section, which is just kind of like a med bay, cafeteria, lounging area, just like a relaxation area. And then obviously we will have a landing pad of some sort on the station, and then a power hub. So let's do this. Let's design a great layout for this amazing base we are about to build. Nothing too crazy, as you can tell. Now, what I was planning was to have, kind of like 4 different sections. So we've got the garage slash refinery area, production area, probably like the production assembly kind of area of this whole station. Now in the center is kind of like the main hub. So this is where everyone's gonna, have the med bays. This is gonna be kind of like the access way through here. And then over in this area is going to be where the power housing is. It's going to be pretty exposed, but it's not meant for extreme defense or anything. There probably will be some defensive structures on here at some point, but this is kind of I'm planning something special for this, just to kind of like with solar panels and stuff, just so that you can get the most amount of sun. It's not really blocked by a lot of the structure. So it should be able to collect a lot of sun out here. And then obviously right over here, this is just kind of the large landing pad that we're going to clean up and make it look nice and add a little bit of detail. Now what we have to do is add the mechanical parts to the station. Now this will include, you know, conveyors, connectors, the whole production kind of area. It's mostly going to be there. We're going to have to hook up all of the med bays, the cryopods, the O2, and all of the air vents to every area. So mostly these three rooms that we're looking at right here. So the production kind of main hub and then the power, all of those are going to be hooked up, and we may want to have some sort of connector and collector on this pad so that, you know, if you're surviving out here, it'd be easier to just kind of have ships come over, drop off cargo super easily, or connect up and do whatever they need to do. But it's more of a build pad. It's more, this is supposed to be more of a build pad design area. So let's not waste any more time and let's just jump right into it. And we have it, the best base you can build. Now I hope this was pretty informational for you and you kind of get the gist of what I was going for while building this, and I hope you kind of could follow along. Maybe I'll shorten it next time, maybe make it a little more step by step, but let me know how you like that step by step process. So now we're just going to take our time, do a little bit of a tour, just so I can kind of show you my ideas in real time and what I was really like kind of going for and what each room is kind of meant to be. So here we are in the chonk troop transport. Oh shit, that was not supposed to happen, but that's all right. Actually, let's just drop this right here. We don't really need it. Yeah, that's fine. Perfect. So this is our chonk troop transport, and we're just gonna kind of use this as what you would expect coming into this station. So you would have this huge, nice, large landing pad. You know, you could pretty much park any size of ship, small ship that is, onto this platform, and you could come right down, lock right into it, turn off all your engines. So let us now kind of escape our little gunship, dropship, whatever you want to call it. And this is kind of the main entrance. This is where you would kind of enter this station. As you can see, everything is very nice and exposed. And that's the idea of this station, you know, to have everything kind of exposed and you're able to kind of repair any components that need to be repaired. So let's go through step by step. Let's just go through the main entrance. I haven't put anything for that LCD panel. But as you can come in here, this is kind of like the airlock. We have two little windows right out the side here, just to kind of give you a little like openness, you know. And we have protection, so we've got the window, obviously. And then we have these grates that you can see out of, but again, gives that extra little bit of layered protection. And then we come in here and now it gets oxygen filled and we're in the main hub. So we've got this nice main hallway, and then first to the right, we have the crew quarters over here. So we got our classic shower and bath, or I should say toilet seat setup with these crew quarter beds. And there's only 3 because this is a 3-man kind of crewed station, so you only need a maximum of 3 players. If you had more, some of them would be in the cryopods, and then, you know, the crews would switch essentially. So it'd be 3 men on, and then 3 men or women in cryostasis, and then they switch however many times they need to switch. Then we come to the next room over here, and this is kind of like the cafe area, or, you know, where you can, you know, party, you know, hang out, drink, and eat. Obviously, it's just kind of like this mess hall. We got a TV up there, so you could broadcast your local solar system favorite TV channel or interdimensional cable. Watch your favorite Rick and Morty episode. Is that a dead meme? Probably. But I want you to take note in what I did. So as you can see above the hallway block, we actually have like the classic hallway block on the very top. And what I'm using that for is kind of like an air vent access. So even if you wanted to play some sort of horror style gameplay in this, you could have like some sort of creatures like crawling through the air ducts, and they could crawl around and sneak attack the crew members or something. Obviously very RPG like, but you know, just I like to let my imagination run wild sometimes. But if you can see how these hallways go to each section of the rooms, just easier for oxygen to access every room. And then I tried to hide everything, make everything kind of clean, keep everything white. You know, you got the dark grays for the accents, like clearly that's the door. And then over here, this light gray, there's something over here, which is the actual kitchen. Someone could be cooking, serving up all the other crew members. And then as we exit here, we can come into this kind of TX intersection of the main hub. So we have the right, which goes to the production center, and then we can go left to the powerhouse. So I'm just gonna skip both of those and then go over to this door, and this is the med bay. Now, ideally, I would kind of typically color the med bay door red if I didn't have a sign to indicate it, but these crew members would have extensive training for this facility, so they know where all the rooms are and everything. They're pretty much used to the whole layout of this station. Then we have the classic 3 cryopods and the med bay, so you can stay in stasis and you can come to the med bay to heal up. Maybe I should have added some, you know, couches, maybe a little bit of like the MRI scan or the CAT scan machine, just to add a little bit more detail. But I wanted some sort of access or like window port, and I think this is great right here. The 3 panels right here, you can see all across the very intense looking Mars desert. There's really nothing out there, but I mean, you have a great Mars view for any Martian out there. And I use these interior blocks to give like a little more detail. I have the classic interior block, and then right above, just to have some deviation or like variety, I have the newer kind of interior block, and I believe it's part of a DLC, but it just gives a little more detail. You know, not everything's the same, but it still has detail to the interior. You know, these are exposed pipes where you could access, and then above is just like simple paneling for like an interior. And then as we exit, let us make our way to the powerhouse. So coming to the powerhouse, we can open this airlock, and it's this very long tunnel with the classic, you know, double windows. And then we actually have the new girder blocks, which kind of give it that nice little like extra accent to the white, so you have these dark gray little bits right here kind of striking down, and it goes along every single one of these windows, so you can kind of see it, but it really adds that extra bit of detail. And you can see there's someone landed at the port over there in their nice spaceship. Oh, very nice. I wonder who designed that lovely ship. As we continue down, we get to the end of the airlock. Oh, the air gets sucked out. Should have a better design for that to suck the air back in once you open this door. Maybe some sort of automatic script that we could put in later. And here we are in the powerhouse. Now it's just filled with batteries. But in a survival situation, you want to be able to access everything that you can. So sometimes you may not have a jetpack, you may not be able to fly up to every component, but being down here, you should be able to access these batteries or repair them or whatever. And you can also kind of come up on these catwalks, repair these ones up here if need be, or you could go to the lower section, which happens to just be on the sand, and repair these batteries as well. Now it continues the same kind of pattern on the left and the right. So if you go down, you'll notice that there's staircases going up and down, and you can kind of weave in between to access every battery on each side. And then you can come all the way out to the outside of the station, and you're actually just on the outside. So let's go back and let's take a look at the production center, the section that I'm probably most proud of. So we are now in the main hub right beside the med bay, and if we just continue down, we'll get to this section, which also has the classic windows with the, extra bit of protection. You can kind of see both split ends. I really like the idea of having different hubs in a station. You have one section, it's kind of modular. Like you can imagine that, the production center came down and then they started building the main hub, and then they extended it off and they made the power area and then had the landing platform. And it makes you think that, well, they could definitely add more and more to this station eventually. So we continue down, and now here we are in the production center. Now you can clearly tell by the cautioned kind of paint in this area that this is some sort of production, something cautious, something you want to be careful of. And if we come inside, you can clearly see we've got the red, orangey kind of lights, and we have everything, all the components, all the production stuff in this area. And you'll notice that I have this tiny, almost like half slab walkway all the way around. I really wanted to give it that feel that this was just a big open pit filled with components. So this kind of tiny walkway gives you that kind of large feel, like you're just walking on this small little pathway all the way around. And then you can come onto the normal catwalk, which allows you to get above and closer to the refinery. And you could just kind of use your jetpack, fly up here, repair the oxygen tanks, where the oxygen generator is, and the air vent. There's a cargo container right here just for access, so you could access maybe the materials. And under here we have an assembler and another assembler, just a double assembler, just so that you could be building multiple components at once. Now, if we come to this lower section, we would climb down the ladder, but we all know that's a little bit of a hassle. And we can see all of these tubings, all the conveyor tubings down here. We've got some modules that modify the speed, the yield, and all of that of the refinery, so it works at its peak performance. Hard to repair these kind of items because they're so tucked away. However, they are also the most protected because it's like the very bottom of the station. Very unlikely they'd get destroyed. And then if we come over here to the other side, we can have this. You can see that we have this door here. Open and close it, and then we come into this strange kind of looking section. You'll notice that we have vents above both sides of kind of like the garage area. Now the idea of this is that this is kind of like where you would do oil changes, or you would do like under repairs of like a ship. Realistically, you could actually just get rid of these and then have your vehicle park above, and this should be a big enough gap where the wheels would still stay on the platform above, and you could actually just repair or build off the bottom of the existing rover. So you can come up these stairs, and if you wanted to build on the tops of the rover, you could do so, or the sides. You could just stand here, repair the sides, or you can come up to the top of the catwalk and start repairing the top, or build off of the existing rover. Now, I really like the idea of having, it was going to be originally just one big garage door, but I felt like it would be cool to kind of have two separate garage doors. One could come in and then have the other door closed off because one's in repair, and there would be signs on the outside of this kind of garage to tell you, bay 1 is open or bay 2 is open, then you could individually open either or. As well as we have these collectors on the bottom, so if you made some sort of like mining vessel or cargo vessel, they kind of have like a little dropper out, or ejector out the back, and just kind of shoot items out the back. And then over here on the left of the hangar bay, you'll see we have these little viewports over, and you can kind of see on the outside, again, just a very big desolate planet with like absolutely nothing, but it just gives you that open, you know, so you're not so claustrophobic inside this garage. You know, you can still see an outside, there's still an outside world out there. But to see the real outside world, all you have to do is open the doors. So if you come up to the left side of the garage, you'll notice we have this control panel here, and we can open up the left door and the right door. So let's just go ahead and do that. And there we go. Opening up to the outside world. And now we are on the outside of the station, and I haven't put anything there, but it essentially it's going to say bay 1, and then that will say bay 2, or maybe I'll have like it goes red and then it goes green when like it's ready for like a new vehicle, maybe red when it's like there's something parked inside so you can't actually access it. And I probably should have added some sort of button on the outside. Now that's pretty much for the interior, but I want to talk about the exterior, what I decided and what went through my head while, you know, designing the exterior of this base. So you'll notice it's kind of like I have this like white shell going all the way around each module, and that's kind of what I went for. I went for this style where it's like, you know, there's this inside, but then there's just kind of this mushroom capped outside. So I used half slabs, and I tried to make it as smooth and as continuous as possible all the way around, and I like how it just ever so slightly, just all the way around, you can see how there's like some of these interior blocks exposed, and it's just like one single line of piping all the way around. Makes it look like you could like fix stuff on the outside, and it's the same on the main hub as well. You could go all the way around. Just gives it a very unique, a very like particular design to this structure. And what I found after completing the base, you may have noticed like halfway through building, I started adding these on each corner, and they're kind of like little struts or something. Maybe I should edit this one. And the idea of these on each corner is just kind of give it like, you know, a little more robustness. It was looking a little plain on the bottom, and I didn't actually like the way it looked, so I wanted to add just a little more detail. And honestly, just that little bit of blocking on these corners just adds so much detail to the rest of the structure. Now, probably my favorite part about this entire build is just these tubes, these long hallways that are exposed. So what I did is I had these like original rib design. So I had, you know, these white blocks here, and I thought, I'm like, well, what can I add in the middle, but still allow for like viewing? And then all I did was add these girder blocks here, and it adds just like so much more depth to the build, as you can tell. And I wanted it to continue wrapping all the way around, so I thought, well, I'll just put a catwalk, and it kind of makes it look like a caged area, like this. These sections of the hallway where it's viewing, like you can view outside, actually just has like some sort of metal cage going all the way around. And then I kind of continued that same style for the batteries. So we have these like caged areas with the girders all the way around, just kind of in the mid sections or like every other block, and then continued with these sort of vent blocks, just kind of make it look like it still has a cage. I could have used maybe some catwalks, but I like the robustness of these vents, so I think it turned out pretty good. Now for the solar panel. The solar panel is probably the pride and joy of this. Now, I think it's really cool to have like some sort of offset solar panel, so it makes it look like, you know, the base was just built however, and then afterwards they put in the solar panel so it could be adjusted to the sun's rotation. So I actually just kind of randomly played with it to see where it would sit, and it actually sits pretty much directly where the sun is and where it would kind of orbit the planet. And with the hinge, you could actually just set it so it could like follow or get like 100% of the sun on it. Right now it's doing pretty okay, but if the sun was setting or rising, you could actually just tilt it with the hinge just to get more sunlight so you could get the most amount of power out of it. Also, using the girder blocks on it really adds that like extra bit of detail. These new girder blocks are like amazing. I love it. I love it so much. I'm happy that they added it to the game. Just allows you to add so much more detail to such a simple design, such a simple and plain design. Now, detailing is very important when making any builds. It really brings your build character, structure. That's why I wanted to keep these mushroom capped hubs. So I continued that pattern throughout. And then anytime there was some sort of walkway, I wanted to have it like a ribbed pattern. And now everything on this station kind of looks like it flows and goes together pretty well. At least I think so. The antenna was kind of like a last minute thing. It kind of stands out, but that was kind of the idea that I was going for. The top of this main hub is very, very plain. So I wanted something to stick out and like really show like just a little bit extra detail. And that's what I decided to do with the antenna. So we essentially have the physical antenna here that actually does something, like you can use it as an antenna, but I wanted a little more. So I use these cover blocks kind of as some sort of like radar antenna, like it absorbs more radio waves, just another kind of antenna. And then we have my classic antenna, which is just a couple columns, and I forgot to put it on, but there should be like some sort of flashing light here, like you would see on some sort of like communication tower on Earth. But yeah, this is basically my little Mars base, and how you can also take these designs and have some inspiration on your own builds. But that's all I have for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this one, and if you did, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and most importantly, share the video. Get the word of Chonkers out there. We've been growing our army, but we've been slowing down quite a bit, and I've come to the realization you all really like my Space Engineers videos, so we'll stick with that for a while, let our channel grow, and then maybe we'll start moving to some other games that you'd like to see me play. But this has been your great Lord Chonkers playing and showing you how to build in this wonderful game of Space Engineers. Stay thick, stay chonky, stay beautiful, my chonk followers, and I'll see you in the next. Bye.